Okay, so the nice thing about stock is it's don't really need to do a lot. You just kind of throw everything into a bowl and you're good. So, you know what? I'll start with the things you have to have in this bowl, and then we can work our way into things that are more optional. So first off, we have chicken carcass bits. Right here is a chicken that I broke down. These are just like the bones and little bits of meat and some of the organs too, because I got a whole chicken and they give you the organs. If you have like a rotisserie chicken laying around, that's something a little more approachable. If you can get like just the tips of the wings, like a bunch of those will do it really good. But what we're after here, because we're gonna make a bone broth, because it's gonna go for like 8 hours, is we want a lot of bones in there, because those bones will they'll release like collagen and collagen, and that's what kind of gives you this thick like jello-y and like really sticks to your lips while you're eating it. Broth, it's fucking fire. Anyway, so all that into the pot. Next up is some celery. This is kind of sad looking celery, but for what we're doing, it doesn't really matter. Here, let me chop off the bottom. It's just a little dirty, but just break it up into clumps. It's not really like that's the nice thing. It's not like picky. You can just kind of throw shit in there. Carrots are another classic. I'll do a little one. And again, like it just it's not that complicated. This is an onion. And I'm gonna cut off the end, but aside from that, leave the skins on and everything. See, those don't really like affect the flavor, but what they do is they have these pigmentation. The pigments kind of leach out, and it gives you like a darker colored broth. Now those are white onions. If I was being really picky, I'd use yellow onions, but it doesn't really matter that much at the end of the day. Kind of just like freestyling out here. So those, bay leaves. I'm gonna put 2 in. One could do it, but you know, it's a pretty big pot. And then peppercorns. Just I think this is like 10. You don't need that many, and because the longer a peppercorn sits in something, the more flavor it leaches out, and this is going to be going for like 8 hours. Those are the things, that is like the bare minimum of what I would do if I was going to do a stock. Now we're going to get into the extra stuff that I do. So here are a bunch of herbs from my garden that, you know, obviously that you will have in your large greenhouse. Here, let's start with here's some thyme sprigs that we have. That's some thyme right there. So there's 4 herbs in here. Yeah. And if I was just gonna do one, I would probably do at least one of these. But if I was just gonna do one, I'd probably do thyme, because it's the most even-tempered, I guess, is how I'd say it. It can stand on its own the best, I guess. Then we have rosemary, which is probably the most available. It's not a bad one if you're just going to put one of these in. Then we have some parsley. Yeah, we have just a little bit of parsley. It's for the flavor. It's got like a almost citrusy thing going on. And then we have some sage that we also have in our backyard, which is really nice. It just all those together really smell like Thanksgiving, which, you know, it's like just about pure heartiness. So those aren't like a curveball. We're about to get into the curveballs. This is the first curveball. We're gonna add some pork to our stock. This is a ham hock, a smoked ham hock to be specific. It's basically a pig's foot. I think it's like the ankle. But what's really cool about it, besides that it's smoked and that smokiness will like leach into the broth and give it like a really smoky flavor. But what's really cool about that is there's a shitload of tendons and bones in there. And when those will break down, they leach out even more of that collagen I was talking about earlier. So that's a really cool touch. And then we have some mushrooms. There's nothing really complicated there. They just give like an earthiness that I really like. You don't need that many. There's like 7 here. And you probably don't even need to cut them. Feels weird to put a mushroom in something and not cut it. And let's let me see real quick. Pulling a curveball here. This is something that I kind of started doing because I was making stock, and I read someone was talking about. They were talking about putting citrus with their rosemary, and I tried it, and it was really good. But I tried to put some like citrus peel, like lemon's probably the best. This is a lime because that's all that grows in our backyard. But just a little bit of lemon just kind of gives it a little bit of complexity. And then I like to put a little bit of salt into it. You don't really have to, but if you ever want to like consume it by itself, which I've heard some people do, you probably want to add some salt here. And you can always add more to it later. But this is just maybe like a tablespoon, maybe 2 teaspoons worth of salt. And then we are going to adjust the camera angle. And you are going to use your stove faucet that I'm sure everyone has to put water in there and make a large mess. So yeah, this will bring up to a boil. You want to bring it up to a boil, so hit it on high till it hits that boil, and then take it down to like a low simmer and just let it go for like. I'm gonna do it for 8 hours. I wouldn't do it for less than 6. But by the end of it, it'll be like this really thick, deep brown liquid, and then we will. I'll pour it off into like a strainer and pull that liquid, put it in some jars, and be some fire stock. Okay.